let's talk about how to change the subject of an equation in math. And this is something that a lot of people struggle with, but once you get it, you get it. And then it's going to be super easy for you. The thing that also confuses people about this is that you usually get these kinds of problems in a word problem, okay? Ignore the words, just learn this principle and you're gonna know how to do this for life. Trust me, okay? So the first thing is that you usually get this particular equation, the speed equals distance over time. Memorize it, okay? Whatever you do, don't forget this. Just memorize speed equals distance over time, okay? And another thing you need to memorize is this here triangle, okay? You could call it a pyramid, you could call it a triangle, but essentially this is what it looks like, okay? You've got the capital D, which is distance, at the top, and you've got speed and time at the bottom. And I'm going to explain why it's like that later on. But first, just know that you can basically figure out these three equations from this one triangle, okay? And now I will show you what it means. It means that every time you have two different letters on the same level, the S and the T, they are directly proportional to each other. So you will always be multiplying them. Speed times time. That will always be the case. Everything else you will divide. So you will have distance divided by speed, and you will also have distance divided by time. And this is going to happen every time, okay? So memorize your triangle, memorize what is directly proportional, and memorize what is inversely proportional to each other. Inversely proportional, that means you're going to use the division sign, okay? And let's see, if we want to change this equation from figuring out the speed of something, let's change it to figuring out the time, okay? So you're gonna have to multiply both sides of the equation by time, all right? Here we have that. You're multiplying both sides by time. Now you are getting speed times time is equal to distance. So now you have to divide by speed, okay? So on both sides, you are dividing by speed, and that is how you are getting to the final new equation, which is giving you time, okay? You can do this for any numbers or any values, any unknown. Let's try a different example. Here we have density is equal to mass divided by volume. So how will you write that into your triangle or into your pyramid? Let's think about it. The M is for mass, the D is for density, and the V is for volume. So that's how you're going to do it here. Okay, so if you had to multiply both sides by volume, you would get density times volume is equal to mass. And that is why mass is the value that goes at the top of the pyramid. All right, so density is equal to mass divided by volume, and you can always change it to find the other values in this case. All right, here we have just a completely random example, A, B, C, and what would happen if we have this and we want to actually calculate C? So then we're going to write it like this. We're going to write the A at the top. A divided by B is equal to C. Okay, but then what if you are not given C? What if you want to calculate one of the other values? How would you do that? How would you calculate this if you want to get A? Well, then you would multiply both sides by B, and in that case, you would get A is equal to B times C. All right, you see how easy this is once you get the hang of it, okay? You can do this with any values at all. Let's go back to speed is equal to distance over time and actually solve a word problem, because this is what you're most likely going to get in a test. If my average walking speed is 5 kilometers per hour, and I live 2 kilometers away from my friend's house, how long will it take me to walk to my friend's house? We ask ourselves two questions. What do we have? So we have this, the average walking speed is 5 kilometers per hour, and we have the distance, which is 2 kilometers, okay? But what do we need? We need time. Do we have time? No, we don't, okay? So now we just reshuffle everything to get an equation where we try to figure out time, okay? Here we have our famous pyramid, and we see that time will be equal to distance over speed. The next thing we do is then we plug in our values. And what were our values? Well, the speed is 5, but the speed has to go at the bottom. That's the denominator. And the numerator is 2 because that's the distance, 2 kilometers, right? So 2 over 5. And that means our answer is 2/5 of an hour, which is equal to around about 24 minutes. So it will take about 24 minutes to get to your friend's house. I hope that helps.